Hey, you!
I thought you'd been arrested.
Nah, it was a misunderstanding.
When he pulled that gun, gah! I thought that was it. Those automatics pack quite a punch, you know?
He made a mistake. He thought I was a terrorist.
You? A terrorist? Ha!
He was only doing his duty, I guess. Did you see an old guy with a briefcase?
Wait, silly old coot. Do you know what he said to me? Work fascinates me, he says. I could watch it all day. Quel bit. I could have knocked his block off.
Did you recognize the old man?
No. Should I have done? Was he a celebrity?
No, but I guess he is now. His name was Plantar.
Was? He's dead then?
Yeah.
That's too bad. Now I wish I hadn't called him what I did. If only I could turn back the clock. If only I'd been more tolerant.
Regret and remorse are strange emotions. They really bring out the hammiest actors in people. Did you see a clown come by this way?
A clown? Like in a circus?
Yeah, with makeup and a big red nose.
Huh! Those guys are funny, aren't they?
Not in my experience.
I love the circus, especially the horses.
You haven't answered my question. Have you seen a clown?
You think I've got time to watch everyone who passes by? Some of us have to work for a living.
Look, I know you're busy, but surely you'd have noticed a clown.
I told you already. I didn't see a thing.
He was wearing multicolored baggy trousers and makeup.
He'd be a poor sort of clown if he didn't.
Listen, I have to find that clown. He's a killer.
Say, who are you anyhow? A cop?
No, of course not. I mean, do I look like a cop?
No, but you act like one, sticking your nose in where it's not wanted. How do you know this guy's a killer? Did you see him in action?
Didn't you hear the explosion? The cafe was blown up.
I wondered what that bang was. Any bodies?
Yeah, an old man was killed.
Merde. I didn't think it was that serious. What about the waitress?
Oh, she's fine.
Thank the saints.
Would you like to read my newspaper?
I haven't got time to read that. Can't you see I'm busy?
You could read it on your lunch break.
10 minutes is all I get. And if my boss had his way, I wouldn't get that. He'd have me on a drip, so I didn't have to stop to eat.
Oh, take the newspaper and quit complaining.
Pah! Look at this. Damn bleeding heart liberals. Tcha! Save the dolphins. Catch them and eat them, I say. All that fuss over a bunch of fish. Nah, that's more like it. Look at the size of those. Like champagne bottle corks, no? Ah, what's this? Saladin running in the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe.
It's a racehorse?
A horse? A legend. Bucephalus reborn, mon ami. Like a streak of lightning she is. Do me a favor, won't you? Keep an eye on my hole. I'm off to put some money on that nag.
What about your toolbox?
Stuff it. Help yourself.
I found a T-shaped tool in the box. I didn't know what it was, but it looked useful. The clown had fled into this alley, but there was no sign of him now. I was intrigued by Nico and what she could tell me about the explosion. I lifted the cover to reveal what smelt like the entrance to a sewer. As I picked up the plastic ball, I realized it was intended to be worn. It was the clown's red nose. I scooped up the sodden tissue. It was cold and greasy, like breakfast leftovers. I took hold of the scrap of material and unsnagged it from the spike. Hi there.
Hold it right there, you sewer rat. I knew you'd come back, and now I've got you.
What are you talking about?
You're trespassing. Come out of there, immediately.
That's what I'm trying to do. Give me your hand.
Ha! You won't catch me with tricks like that. Keep your distance, monsieur.
Okay.
Now, what were you looking for?
Terrorists. The meanest, nastiest, dirtiest bunch of guys you ever saw.
Ah, Englishmen without a doubt. The filthy dogs. The day they opened that tunnel was a bad day for France, I tell you. If I still had the full use of my faculties, I'd march right over there and tell them so.
Well, whoever they are, they blew up the cafe.
What? The cafe? Blown up? Mon Dieu! That is awful.
The guy who did it was a calculating, cold-blooded killer. He was disguised as a clown. I followed him into the sewer, and I think he came this way.
Ah, mon Dieu! Then, the man I chased, do you think that man and the clown are one and the same?
Well, yes, it had crossed my mind.
Ah, that still does not explain what you are doing down the sewer. For all I know, you are in league with him.
Oh no, I'm just a tourist.
Haha, most tourists are content with the Eiffel Tower, the Louvre, or the Pigalle. I didn't realize my waste pipes were such an attraction.
Tell me about the man you apprehended.
What is there to tell? He was a typical criminal type, just like you.
Do you know the waitress at the cafe?
Oh, hey, she isn't hurt, is she?
No, she's fine.
Oh, thank heavens. A poor girl like her isn't safe with the likes of you roaming the streets.
Can't you understand? I'm not a gangster. I'm an American tourist.
Ah, that's what you say.
Does the name Plantar mean anything to you?
No, it doesn't. Who is he?
The man who was killed in the cafe. I'm gonna find the guy responsible. I'll find him. Even if it means following him down every sewer in every city in Europe.
Bravo! Ah, you need some sensible boots. You won't get far in those stupid sneakers.
Was the guy you saw carrying a briefcase?
I didn't notice. Now are you going to leave? Or do I have to call the police?
Do you recognize this material?
I am not telling you anything.
What does this tissue mean to you?
Nothing, monsieur. It's disgusting. What on earth possessed you to show it to me? Someone had emptied their nostrils into it.
Perhaps you'd like to take a look at my card?
What is this? Inspector Augustin Rousseau? What does that say? Hominoid Division?
A homicide. I think the ink's smudged.
Then you are not a tourist.
Okay, I'm not. I lied to you, and I'm sorry.
Don't apologize, monsieur. You know, I had a feeling there was something different about you. It is your posture, your poise. Oh, yes. There is no mistaking the bearing of a disciplined man. And I should know. I was in the army, you know. When I was your age, I was fighting for my life in the African desert. How can I help you, Inspector?
Does this piece of material mean anything to you?
Ah, that is the same cloth as the jacket I found. I'd recognize that pattern anywhere.
Now, about the jacket you found. Do you have it here?
No, monsieur. One of the sleeves was badly torn, so I sent it for repair. A pity, because otherwise it was a fine piece of quality tailoring. It had the tailor's name inside on the label.
Where did you send the jacket?
I gave it to an itinerant Romani seamstress.
Just my luck. Was there anything in the jacket pockets?
Not a sou. You know what I think?
Do tell me.
He changed out of the clown suit and cunningly disguised himself as an ordinary person.
Looks like I'm up against a mastermind. What was the name on the label?
Ah, it was a foreign name. Todrick, I think.
Did you get the address?
There wasn't one, monsieur. Only a telephone number.
Well, I don't expect you to remember a phone number you've only seen once.
74 98 08 59.
You're kidding. That's his phone number?
Yes, that's it. A little trick with numbers that I learned in the desert. I was taught the technique by a Tuareg shaman.
That's incredible.
It comes in handy at the supermarket checkout. Do I get a reward?
Honesty, monsieur, is its own reward.
Then I'm glad I do not rely on honesty to pay the bills.
Tell me about the man you apprehended.
He was a mean one, monsieur. He grabbed me in an arm lock. His face suddenly next to mine. His grip was like iron. But he did not know what he was up against. Oh no! He made a big mistake when he took on one of the desert hyenas.
Yes, I get the picture. Was the guy you saw carrying a briefcase?
Why, yes, he was. Clutched in his arms like a baby.
That belonged to his victim.
Oh, what do you think was in it? Drugs? Stolen jewels?
I don't know. But the killer thought it was worth a man's life.
Nothing is worth that, monsieur.
Does the name Plantar mean anything to you?
No, it doesn't.
Do you know the waitress at the cafe?
You can't suspect her, surely.
Just answer the question, please.
Yes, I know her. Quite well, you could say. She came to work at the cafe 6, 7 months ago. I look forward all week to the relief she gives me when she visits.
Really? So you'd miss her if she wasn't there?
Oh, mais oui! Who else would I find to cut my toenails?
Take a look at this false nose.
Aha! That looks like a clown's nose to me.
Precisely. He must have dropped it in his panic.
Unless he wanted you to find it.
Why would he want to do that?
To put you off the scent.
This is what I used to open the manhole cover.
I have one just the same as that, monsieur. I will fetch it if you like.
No, don't bother.
Oh, it is no bother, monsieur.
Nah, forget it.
Just trying to be helpful, monsieur.
I have to be going. Thanks to your help, the citizens of Paris can sleep a little easier tonight.
Vraiment? I was only doing my duty, monsieur. Good luck, Inspector. I hope you catch that killer soon.
So the clown had escaped into the sewer, come up into the courtyard, and then slipped back into the street here. It wasn't much, but it was more than the cops had got.
Hello, Nico Coulard.
Hello? It's George.
Ah, oui.
You said to call if I could help.
Have you any news for me?
You bet. I met a witness who spoke to the clown. And I know where the killer gets his suits.
No kidding. Hey, I'm impressed.
You are? Well, it wasn't easy.
Look, why don't you come here to my apartment later this afternoon?
Fine. Where do you live?
361 Rue Jarry.
Okay, I'll come over.
I was used to working alone, but I had to admit it felt good with George on the case too. But there were some things I was going to have to do alone, and fast. I needed the answers to some questions. Who was the costume killer? And why did he murder Carchon? Why did Carchon ask for me to interview him? How did he know my father? And why was my editor so scared? There was some kind of secret war going on out there, but who was on which side? One thing I did know. I wasn't going to get the answers sitting at my desk.
Mademoiselle Collard.
Oh, hello there. Don't tell me I'm going to meet a tall, dark man.
No, I don't think so. Why would you say that?
Oh, just a wild guess.
Anyway, your cousin's female and very pretty.
What?
Your cousin from Marseille. How could you forget her so soon? She was only in your apartment yesterday.
Ah, really?
Such a charming young girl.
Isn't she? And in my apartment, you say?
She let herself in, of course. She's got a key.
Suddenly everything made sense. My apartment had been bugged. That was how Plantard knew all about my article. How did I know? Because the only cousin I have is a sweet little guy called Jean-Marc, who runs a patisserie in Le Touquet. These people were determined, which meant they were also very dangerous. I suppose she'd forgotten which apartment was mine.
Oh, Miss Collard, you're a mind reader. That's just what she said.
Oh, I bet it was. Well, I'd better be going. See what my sweet cousin's been getting up to.
Au revoir, mademoiselle.
Hello, could I ask you some questions?
That depends. Are you a cop?
No, I'm a journalist.
It's late, aren't you? They already took away the body.
I'm doing a follow-up on this story. Tell me, are you related to the workman I saw digging the hole?
Don't talk to me about flobage. Pah!
Okay.
He just won a fortune on the horses and he won't give me a cent.
Well, it's his money.
When he was broke, he was happy to touch me for a loan. Brothers should look after each other, he used to say. He's changed his tune, now he's brassed up.
You're doing a fine job.
Damn right I am. You should be writing about me, not that idiot that got blown up.
The heroes who pick up the pieces when disaster strikes.
Exactly.
Well, give me your best smile and maybe I'll put your picture in the article.
Oh, right. Just give me a minute to do my hair.
The police had removed the body, but nothing else looked disturbed.
A panel had been blown away, revealing a gap. From this angle, I could see that something had been lodged in the gap behind the pipes. Behind the table were some damaged pipes. Voila! The police and forensic teams had missed a vital piece of evidence. Some kind of pouch. On the pouch was the cross symbol of Carchon's organization. I was on the right track. On the pouch was the cross symbol of Carchon's organization. Inside the pouch were two items, a strange metallic artifact and a letter in some kind of code. Another coded message using the same cipher system. So, Plantard was involved with Carchon. Plantard. Pierre killed. Murderer must have followed trail from Arnaud and Yamada. He will come for us now. We must be vigilant. Thierry's girl broke into Pierre's safe. She worries me. Imelda. So much for Imelda's innocence. Plantard was working for her, and for Canchon. But why did Plantard want to meet? Was it a trap? Or maybe he was in too deep and needed me to tell the story, whatever the story was. One thing was clear. It was a story worth killing for.
Hey, what about my photos?
Oh, of course. How could I forget?
Well, I'm waiting. Get your camera out.
Camera. Oh, I forgot. It broke.
Alors, they should never send a woman to do a man's job.
Well, this woman had fooled him easily enough, and found the evidence the police had missed. I needed to take a closer look at the objects I'd found in Plantard's pouch. The artifact had a sword laid across scales. There was a picture of Lady Justice on the locked panel, in the room below the conciergerie. Another coded message using... So, Plantard. Pierre killed. Murderer must have followed trail. He will come for us now. Thierry's girl broke into Pierre's safe. Imelda. So much for Imelda's innocence, and for Canchon. But why did Plantard want to meet? Was it a trap? Or maybe he was in too deep and needed me to tell the story, whatever the story was. One thing was clear. It was a story worth killing for. The strange metal artifact I found in Plantard's pouch had pointed back to the quayside. I removed the shell case. Plantard's key fitted the lock, so he must have used this place too. A photograph had been torn up. If I could just arrange the pieces. Oh my God. It can't be. There was no doubt about it. It was a picture of my father. Papa, oh God. After what I'd gone through, I thought I could face anything, but not this. My father, the one person in the whole world who I truly admired, standing with Crachon while those murderers carried on with their evil work. My father, grinning at the camera. I couldn't believe it. I realized that I desperately needed to get to the bottom of this story, and that I really needed George.
Oh, hi.
Bonjour, monsieur. Would you like me to foretell your future?
No thanks.
I'm very good. It only takes a minute.
Thanks all the same, but I'm not superstitious. Besides, if it only takes a minute, that's not much of a future to look forward to. Do you know a young woman called Nicole Collard?
Yes, I do. She lives upstairs from me in the apartment block across the street. The door isn't locked, but you'll need to give it a gentle nudge. It sticks, you see. Because of the damp. The landlord said he'd fix it before winter sets in. He's been saying that for 3 years.
How long has Mademoiselle Collard lived here?
A few months. She's in for a shock when the cold weather comes. Drafty windows, insufficient heating. It's a struggle to keep warm. The only reason I stay is because the rent is cheap. Your young lady, she deserves better.
I thought Mademoiselle Collard was a successful photographer.
Not as successful as she makes out for all her fine clothes. Oh, I've heard her crying herself to sleep at night.
That's awful.
Now don't you let on that I've told you. She's proud, that one. Too proud, if you ask me.
Have you seen anyone out here watching Mademoiselle Collard's apartment?
Yes, I have. A strange man. Tall and thin as a broomstick. He kept his face hidden, but I saw his eyes peering from evil little slits.
How was he dressed?
A long brown raincoat with a hat.
Or like Humphrey Bogart?
Yes, but he didn't have Bogart's charisma. Besides, this guy looked like he needed a toilet. You never saw Bogart clenching his buttocks like that.
Are the flowers for sale?
Oui, monsieur.
Okay. I'll take a bunch of those white ones.
I wouldn't do that if I was you.
No?
They are lilies, monsieur. Some people associate them with death.
Yikes. Well, thanks for telling me. What other flowers do you have?
Dahlias?
What do they signify?
Insecurity?
I don't want to give her the wrong idea about me. What about the tall yellow ones?
Those are iris, the flame of passion.
And the little yellow ones?
Sensuality.
Well, they're no use to me. I want to make an impression, not jump down her throat. I've changed my mind. Will you tell my fortune?
You're going on a long journey.
My, oh my. What a surprise. Can you tell me anything I don't already know?
Is there anything else you can tell me about Mademoiselle Collard?
No, monsieur.
How does this fortune-telling routine work?
If I knew that, I wouldn't be selling flowers for a living.
Haven't you ever wondered why you were blessed with the gift?
Well, it's a bit like satellite television, I suppose. Some of us are born with a built-in receiver dish. I just happen to be one of the lucky ones.
Can you really foretell the future?
Only time will tell, monsieur. The strange thing is, I can't seem to see myself in the future. Other people, I have no problem. But when I try to see what might happen to me, nothing.
That must be scary.
Maybe. I figure it's a kind of natural safety mechanism. Either that, or I don't have a future.
What can you tell me about this material?
It's a very expensive piece of cloth, monsieur.
What can you tell me about this tissue?
Nothing.
Do you recognize this nose?
No, monsieur.
See you later.
That's right, monsieur. You will.
Remembering the flower seller's advice, I pushed the door gently just above the lock. Hi.
Bonjour. I'm glad you could make it, monsieur.
Please, call me George.
Fine. I'm Nicole. Take a seat, George. Eh bien? And what have you been up to?
I've been exploring the sewers underneath the cafe.
I thought I could smell something bad.
The clown used the sewer to escape and to change out of his costume. I guess he was in a hurry. He left his jacket behind.
And?
I got his tailor's phone number.
You had better luck than I did.
Luck, she said. Luck. Hard work, I'd call it. What happened?
My editor told me to drop this story. Can you believe it?
But you're not going to do that.
Oh no. I'm going to find out what's behind these killings.
It just doesn't add up. It almost feels like some sort of conspiracy.
The police in 3 different countries have kept very quiet about the murders.
The press don't connect them at all.
They blame them on political, religious, or militant minority extremists.
Well, that covers just about everyone. Tell me more about yourself.
There's nothing much to tell.
Well, how'd you get into photography?
I guess I owe that to my father. He bought me my first camera. I was 8, and my parents had just split up.
Did you live with your father?
Yes. My mother went off with her new boyfriend. I didn't mind. Papa was all I needed. 4 years later, he died in a plane crash.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right. I don't mind talking about him. He was more like an older brother, really. Always joking and laughing. Papa always wanted me to study art. That's why I went to college.
Did you learn about photography at college?
God, no. I couldn't afford the materials. We were billed for everything we used. Paint, canvas, paper. Most of my year turned to minimalism. It was cheaper. I used to go poaching in the park for squirrel hair. The only time I wasn't hungry was the term I did printing. I used to eat the potatoes.
You're making fun of me, aren't you?
Oh, no.
Tell me more about the clown's previous victims.
The first was Arnaud Bellotta, the millionaire pharmaceutical baron. He made his money from amphetamines in the post-war slimming and diet boom. Imagine it, millions of housewives literally speeding their butts off. The only witness in the case was his Filipino au pair. She swears he was lured to his death by a snowman.
What about the clown's second victim?
Yamada, the controversial Japanese politician. He inherited his fortune from his father's electrochemical consortium.
How did he die?
At the hands, or should I say flippers, of a giant emperor penguin.
A snowman, a penguin, and now a clown.
I had been about to add mine to the list, but stopped myself. I really didn't want to have to explain to George about my father's involvement with Cachon.
You know, I hate to admit it, but this is scary. And I'll tell you this, I will not be accepting any invitations to costume parties.
I don't blame you for being scared. I am too. But this story could be my only chance for a big break.
Or an early death. I found a piece of material near the cafe. When I showed it to the concierge, he recognized it right away.
It's very distinctive, all right. Just wait until you see this. I developed the film I shot at the cafe. Here, George, it's an enlargement I made. Look what that guy is wearing.
Checkered pants. The same material as I found in the sewer.
That's right. This guy shouldn't be difficult to find.
Oh, no?
Take a close look at his right cheek.
A scar in the shape of a horseshoe.
Or a crescent moon.
I found this tissue down the sewer.
That's disgusting, George.
No. I think the stuff on it is grease paint, like actors use, or clowns.
It's still disgusting. Get rid of it.
I found this false nose in the sewer.
Hey, what's this inside it?
The contents of someone's nose?
Don't be gross, George. It says La Risée du Monde. Masks and costumes. It's a costume shop near the Gare Saint-Lazare.
I'll check it out. Maybe the owner remembers who hired the clown costume.
How come you enlarged this photograph of me?
Because I noticed the guy behind you, of course.
This is the tool I used to get into the sewers.
Fascinating, George.
You're not interested, are you?
Oh, of course I am. I think it was very brave of you to go down those sewers.
Yeah? Well, it was kind of scary, but... Well, I had a job to do. I have to go.
Okay, I'll see you later.
Excuse me?
Bonjour, monsieur. Please, come in. Welcome. Leave the mundane world behind, for in these four walls, fantasy is king.
I don't want a costume.
Didn't you ever dress up when you were a child?
Not that I remember.
Incredible! You'll be telling me next that you never shared your elder sister's lingerie.
I don't have a sister, and I think I'd look pretty silly in a brassiere. I just need some information.
Of course. How can I help you?
Have you heard of a man named Plantile?
I do not recall anyone of that name.
I'm looking for a man who hired a clown costume from you.
Oui, monsieur. I do not see how I can help.
Don't you keep a record of costumes that you've rented out?
Of course, monsieur, but...
Well, then, I'd like to check your records. Give me the names of everyone who's rented a clown suit.
Impossible. There are too many.
Does this dirty tissue mean anything to you?
Let me smell that. Bestheimer's number 7 white pancake.
Theatrical grease paint, right?
Oui, monsieur. La crème de la crème of Thespian accoutrement.
Have you sold any of it recently?
Yes, 2 cans.
Do you want this red nose back?
Not after it's been worn, thank you.
Do you recognize this man?
Ah oui, he was here this morning. That is the man to whom I sold the grease paint. I remember the scar on his face. He chose 2 costumes, Bozo the clown and Seamus the pixie.
A pixie?
Very smart. Green silk with a taffeta lining. He gave me his name as Monsieur Khan.
What does this tool mean to you?
Nothing, monsieur.
Thanks for your help, buddy.
My pleasure, monsieur. Allow me to shake you by the hand.
Huh? Well, okay. What are you trying to do, kill me?
You did not find it amusing?
I never saw the funny side of electroshock therapy.
Eh bien, it is yours to keep. A gift?
Do I need a license?
No, but I give you a word of warning, monsieur.
What?
Remember to switch it off before you visit the toilet.
Hello? Who is this?
Hi. My name's George Stobart. You don't know me.
Correct, Mr. Stobart. I don't. What can I do for you?
Well, I'm trying to trace one of your customers. Could I maybe come over and talk to you?
No. No, that's not possible.
Oh, okay. Forget it. Listen, all I want is a name.
What are you talking about? Who are you working for?
I guess you might say I'm acting in the interests of truth and justice.
Ah, thank God. I thought you were the police.
There are innocent lives at stake, Mr. Todrick. Lives that you could save.
You're collecting for charity, yes?
No, I'm not. All I want from you is information.
Go on. I'm listening.
What do you know about the clown who bombed the Café de la Chandelle Verte?
I don't have no idea what you're talking about.
You're cool, Todrick. But I think you know more than you're saying.
I don't know who you be, but sure I am you don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, this is ridiculous. Quit playing games with me, Todrick.
I tell you, I know nothing about no clown.
The man I'm looking for is called Khan. He bought a suit from you, remember?
Mr. Khan. Yes, I remember him. Yes, I delivered the suit to his hotel. The Hotel Ubu. I don't remember the room number. It was upstairs. The second room on the right-hand side of the corridor.
Thanks, Todrick. That's all I wanted to know. Now I've got you, Mr. Clown. Excuse me, didn't I see your picture in the news? You're that Nobel Prize winner from some unpronounceable Eastern European state.
Yes, that is me, in person.
I don't want to worry you, but have you had any threats on your life? You know, mysterious phone calls, letters made up of headlines cut from the newspaper.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Do you know a guy called Plantow?
I don't know anybody in Paris.
Oh, well, this guy's dead anyhow.
Why do you ask me about dead men? I have seen enough of death to last me a lifetime.
I'm, sure you have. Have you seen a clown?
I beg your pardon?
The clown. A guy in funny pants. Have you seen him?
My pants are from England. Marks and Spencer. They are a pleasure and a comfort to wear, with much support.
I'm real glad to hear that. You know, it's good to know you Nobel Prize winners are human too.
In my country, the people make do with string and egg cartoons.
For pants?
For everything. Oppression is the mother of ingenuity.
Do you recognize this man? He calls himself Khan.
Yes, I know this man. Why do you carry his photograph?
I'm a private detective. What's your interest in Khan?
He is an enemy of my people.
You know he's a killer.
Of course, amongst other things.
Would you help me investigate Khan?
That is not possible. My instructions are to observe. I cannot jeopardize my position as an honored guest of this country's government.
Does this goo-smeared tissue mean anything to you?
No, it doesn't.
Thanks for your help.
Goodbye.
Hi there, ma'am.
Well, hello. What can I do for you?
I'm looking for a man.
You disappoint me, my dear. For one foolish moment I thought... But never mind. Aren't you going to tell me your name?
George. George Stobart, ma'am.
How sweet! I once had a stable boy called George. I am Lady Piermont. The common reaction is to kneel and stutter, but it's not obligatory.
A real lady? I mean, you're an honest-to-God aristocrat?
Oh, I don't know about that. Few of my ancestors are honest, not even to God. I can trace my family back to the Normans, but don't let that intimidate you, George. Beneath that impressive pedigree, I'm just flesh and blood. The blood may be blue, but the flesh is the plump beef of old England, so to speak. You appear distracted, George. Is there any way I can help you?
Did you know there's a gangster out front?
What makes you think he's a gangster?
The Italian suit and the bulge in his pocket?
I know plenty of men with Italian suits and bulges in their pockets. That doesn't necessarily make them gangsters.
I'm looking for a murderer.
Good heavens! You're a private detective.
That's correct, ma'am.
What's the term you Americans use? It's on the tip of my tongue.
I believe what you're thinking of is Dick.
Precisely.
Have you come across a man who calls himself Khan?
I am familiar with only one person named Khan.
Genghis Khan, the legendary Mongol barbarian chieftain?
No, darling. Kevin.
Kevin Khan? I never heard of him.
I'd be no surprised if you had, darling. He's a pharmacist in Hemel Hempstead. Organises fundraising for the Rotarians. Lovely man.
Does he have a scar on his cheek?
I really wouldn't know, sweetie.
Are you here in Paris on vacation?
No, darling, I'm on holiday. I needed to get away after Algy's funeral.
I didn't realize you were mourning the loss of a loved one.
I'm not. He was my husband.
I'm sorry to hear about your husband's death.
You wouldn't be if you knew him, my dear. It gave me the opportunity to take a well-deserved holiday. Daphne suggested a change of scenery. Paris, she said. A wild romance is just what you need to take your mind off the inquest. Well, the closest I came to romance was being wooed by a drunken Breton chef. I must say I was disappointed with his coq au vin. Not at all what I was expecting. I was thinking of cutting my holiday short, packing my bags and heading back to Hemel Hempstead. That was until last night.
What happened to you last night?
I was stricken, Mr. Stobart. Cupid's arrow has cleft my bosom.
They couldn't really miss.
It was just as I'd always imagined it should be. The intimacy of candlelight, romantic music tinkling across the room, and then a stranger's glance. Those brooding eyes, that suave manner, those tight trousers. He was the man I'd been waiting for all my life.
I'm glad he finally turned up after all these years.
Ah, but it wasn't to be. He was merely toying with my affections. And if I ever catch up with him, he's dead.
Who was the guy who led you on?
His name is Merlin.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
My God, it's him! That's Merlin!
She represented everything I loved about the English. The lady was totally deranged. Merlin? You mean King Arthur's wizard?
Good heavens, no! Monsieur Merlin is a fellow guest. He's the man I've been telling you about. That's the man who spurned me.
The man you know as Merlin is a fake.
What do you mean, sweetie?
He's a murderer. He also uses the name Khan.
I am shocked, Mr. Stobart. Shaken. I took him to be a gentleman, a man of honour. Do you know, I'd rather like to assist you in stitching him up.
When did you last see Merlin?
It was no more than an hour ago. He came downstairs and spoke to that clerk chappie. Something passed hands. I couldn't see what exactly.
A briefcase?
No, smaller than that. A bundle of papers, perhaps. The clerk put it in the hotel safe and Merlin went out.
Are you sure you saw Merlin putting documents in the safe?
Yes, darling, positive.
I wonder what they were.
Obviously something of great importance.
Yeah. I'd sure like to get my hands on whatever it is. I'll bet they had something to do with Plantow's briefcase. Has Merlin returned to the hotel?
No, he hasn't. Are you going to search his room?
If I could get in there, I would. There was no one registered under the name of Khan, but the name in the book for room 22 was Merlin. I want some information.
Who are you? The police?
I'm conducting a private investigation.
Ah, I know only too well what you mean. That is one of the drawbacks of the catering business. When people book into an hotel, they leave their morals at home, no?
Do you have a guest by the name of Khan?
No, monsieur. Perhaps you would care to check the register.
I already did.
Alors, you know I am telling the truth. May Saint Armand strike me down if I lie.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
Yes, monsieur. That man is one of our guests.
What name?
I cannot tell you that.
It's Merlin, isn't it? Alias Khan, the clown.
I told you, I cannot tell you that.
I'm looking for a man who dresses like a clown.
This is a highly respectable hotel, monsieur. There are no clowns here.
If you say so. Do you know a man named Plantar?
No, monsieur.
I'd like to retrieve something from your safe.
Ah, oui, monsieur. May I see some form of identification?
Like what?
A driving license, perhaps?
I don't drive.
Your passport?
I don't have it with me. I could show you my operation scar.
I'm sorry, monsieur. I must have some form of unique ID.
You won't find a more unique ID than my scar.
I'm sorry. I must insist on a more traditional identification.
Rats. The man who calls himself Khan has a scar on his right cheek.
Vraiment? I tell you, I do not know a man named Khan.
Maybe not, but I noticed a change in his expression when I mentioned the scar.
Excusez-moi, monsieur.
What?
You were trying to steal that key, no?
No way. Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
Did I show you this photograph?
Yes, darling.
Does this tissue mean anything to you?
I'm no shrinking violet, but that object makes me feel quite queasy.
I just couldn't bring myself to use the buzzer on this dear lady. Do you know what this is?
Anakin.
That's right. It was worn as a disguise by a vicious killer.
Ah, Mr. Merlin, perchance.
That's him.
Hey, ne touche pas!
Just looking. Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
Did I show you this photograph?
Yes, darling.
Can you think of any use for this tool, ma'am?
I can think of someone I'd like to use it on.
Hello again. This is a photo of Khan, right?
That is just one of the names by which he is known.
What does this clown's nose suggest to you?
In my country, we have no use for clowns.
I'm glad to hear it.
They were dealt with most severely in the last cultural cleansing.
What about the mimes? Did you get them too?
All gone. Our streets are mime-free.
Sounds like heaven. May I shake you by the hand?
I do not shake the hands of imperialist dogs.
Now that's a real bad attitude problem you've got there. Thanks for your help.
Goodbye.
There was no one registered, but the name in the book for room 22 was Merlin.
Excusez-moi, monsieur.
What?
You were trying to steal that key, no?
No way.
What now, monsieur?
About the key hanging on the hook over there.
Oui, monsieur.
Which room is it for?
Number 21.
Is that room taken?
No. The guests checked out this morning.
I'd like to check into room 21.
That is not possible.
How come? You said it was vacant.
It is reserved for another guest.
Rats.
No, monsieur. Dutch.
I believe Khan, the man with the scar, is also known as Merlin, the man who has taken room 22.
What of it? What do you want?
Access to his room.
Do you have a license, monsieur?
Huh?
A private investigator's license?
Well, not exactly, but I can explain everything.
I am sorry, but without credentials, I cannot help.
I insist you give me the key to Merlin's room.
I cannot do that, monsieur.
This guy Merlin is a menace.
So you say, monsieur.
He's not only a danger to society, but to your guests as well. He has toyed with the affections of Lady Piermont.
Ciel! Are there no depths to which he will not sink?
Precisely. He's already killed once, twice, maybe as many as 3 times. With your help, I just might be able to stop him.
But what if he finds out I have helped you? No, I cannot do it.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
Would you distract the clerk while I borrow a key?
Are you asking me to aid you in a criminal act, darling?
Oh, no. It's the key to an empty room.
And why, may I ask, do you wish to gain access to an empty room? Do you plan to squat?
No, ma'am.
Scouts honor?
I was never in the Boy Scouts, ma'am.
Oh, you should have been. What were your parents thinking of? It's a fine way for a boy to get licked into shape. Now tell me, why do you want to get into that room?
It's next to the room the killer is using.
Ah, so you plan to eavesdrop on Merlin?
I was hoping there might be a connecting door.
Well, how can I refuse? I shouldn't think my feminine charms would be much use in this case, but a good dose of English arrogance might do the trick. I say! You there? Flunky!
Oui, madame.
Listen carefully. You do understand English, don't you?
But of course, madame.
Good. I wish to deposit some jewellery for safekeeping.
I understand.
Are you quite certain?
Oh, bien sûr, madame.
Over to you, my dear.
Maybe it wasn't the right room, but this was the right key. The cabinet was empty, but it smelt of onions. No kidding, it really did. There was nothing in the wardrobe apart from a vague, lingering smell of camphor. The assassin had been too smart to leave incriminating evidence beside his bed. It was Khan. I had the kind of feeling in my stomach that would usually send me running to the bathroom.
Khan opened the wardrobe, I was sure I was dead. But he grabbed his pants quickly and didn't even see me. I didn't usually spy on men getting changed. But this guy was a killer, and I didn't want any surprises. He left his checkered pants on the bed. I flipped the pants over. I had that kind of feeling you only get from searching still warm pants. I found an ordinary matchbook. No matches, no clues. But as I pulled it from the pocket, a strong thread came with it. A thread with a metal tag on the end. I found nothing in the pocket. The pocket was empty. I pulled on the metal tag and the thread came out of the pants. It was like pulling out a ripcord. I turned the pants over again. I searched the pocket gingerly and found a pass card. It read, Thomas Merlin, Gruber Electronics Corporation. The pocket was empty. There was nothing in the pocket. There was nothing else in the secret pocket. Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
Did I show you this photograph?
Yes, darling.
I found this matchbook in Merlin's bedroom.
It came from the Club Alamut. It might be useful to find out if that club is in Paris, George.
I found this pass in Merlin's room.
So, that deceitful little man is passing himself off as an electrician, is he?
Uh-huh. This guy probably has 1,000,000 faces. This is the key to room 21.
That's next to the room taken by that rotten Merlin, isn't it?
Yes, and it's vacant.
Really? How convenient.
Maybe it was my imagination, but I had an uncomfortable feeling about this situation. Yeah. Hello again. Do you recognize this card?
No, I do not.
Does the name on this matchbook mean anything to you?
Indeed it does, for Alamut was the home of the old man of the mountains. You do not know him?
No, I don't. This is a photo of Khan, right?
That is just one of the names by which he is known.
Thanks for your help.
Goodbye.
What now, monsieur?
Does this pass mean anything to you?
That is Monsieur Merlin's property.
That's right. Merlin the murderer. I want to see what he's left in your safe.
Impossible. I cannot betray his confidence, no matter what you say he's done.
You're making a big mistake.
Maybe. I can live with that. A murderer? Are you sure?
Positive. Does this matchbook mean anything to you?
No, monsieur.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
I showed the pass to the clerk, hoping he'd give me Merlin's papers, but he wouldn't buy it. He's too scared.
I'll give him something to be scared of. Follow me, George! Did you place a package from Merlin in the hotel safe?
I did, madame.
And did my friend here show you Merlin's identification?
Indeed he did, but...
What's the problem?
He isn't Merlin.
A mere academic detail. Give him the package.
But that is against the law.
I happen to be a justice of the peace, you silly man. I am the law. If he tries anything, shoot him, George.
My pleasure, Lady Piermont.
One moment, please.
You know, I haven't enjoyed myself this much since Greenham Common.
I don't know what I would have done without you, Lady Piermont.
Voilà, monsieur. Le manuscrit de Monsieur Merlin.
Thanks.
How satisfying. An Anglo-American alliance that actually worked.
The clerk had given me a tightly rolled sheet of parchment. I decided not to unroll it until I was safely back in Nico's apartment. I knew this was no way to treat an ancient manuscript, but I couldn't let it fall into the hands of the goons waiting outside.
Just a minute, monsieur.
What's your problem?
No problem, if you cooperate.
What do you want?
Just a routine security check. Nothing to worry yourself about.
Oh, well, all right.
Search him, Flap.
You bet.
Hey, knock it off. Get off, you big ape.
Nothing, Guido. Zilch.
Our apologies, monsieur.
What? I had to report you to the authorities.
Round here, we are the authorities.
You want I should break his arms?
No. Let him go, Flap.
If the manuscript was what Flap and Guido were after, they were going to be disappointed. I couldn't wait to get back to Nico's apartment and check it out. Hi, how are you?
Oh, hi. Come in, George.
What are you doing to help trace the killer clown?
Research, George.
Yeah? You have a copy of the clown's yearbook?
I have a telephone and lots of contacts.
Oh, well, did you find anything useful?
Not yet. I'm employing my first and most useful weapon.
What's that?
Patience.
Oh, I've heard of that. Isn't it a substitute for decisive thinking? Do you have a boyfriend?
Not anymore. There was someone. A guy in my final year, but it didn't work out. Neither did my degree.
I'm sorry.
I'm not.
Tell me more about your family.
When I was a little girl, I used to spend the winter with my grandfather and grandma. They were the best times. Warm and safe in their tiny cottage. My grandfather rolled cigarettes while Grandma made hot chocolate and cakes. One day, he stopped his groaning. He put the lid back on his tobacco jar and took me in his arms. I laughed and wriggled, but he hushed me to be silent. With his unshaven chin all scratchy in my ear, he told me his secret.
What did he say?
He said, I don't smoke, but she likes to think I do.
What a weird old man.
Don't call my grandfather weird. He was the nicest guy ever. I wish I was back in that cottage instead of this crummy apartment in this noisy city.
You're just not going to believe what I've found.
It's not another part of the clown's costume, is it?
It's a medieval manuscript. Khan left it in the safe at the Ubu.
It's incredible. Is this what he took from Plantar?
It could be.
which means it's worth enough to kill for.
Look there, two guys on the same horse.
Oh, yeah. Maybe they couldn't afford one each. What of it?
Have you ever heard of the Knights Templar? Their official seal was an image of two knights sharing a horse. Whatever this manuscript means, it's connected with the Templars.
How come you know about these knights?
I learned about them while writing an article on the Crusades. This guy, named Hughes de Payen, arrived one day at the court of King of Jerusalem. He offered to protect the Christian pilgrims from the displaced Muslim armies. The king would be able to guarantee safe transit to Christians in the Holy Land. Safer journeys meant more pilgrims, and pilgrims meant trade and wealth. The Templars proved invaluable to the king as a mercenary army. It was said that they never asked how many the enemy numbered, just where they were. And as the years went by, the Templars grew in wealth and numbers. They were so rich, even kings came to them for loans. But at the height of their power, they fell foul of the King of France. He rounded them up and turned them over to the Inquisition. Thousands of Templars were subject to torture and confessed to heresy. Of course, at the hands of the Inquisition, there wasn't much they wouldn't confess to. The last Grand Master Jacques de Molay was burned alive.
Jeez. So the treasure is hidden, waiting to be discovered?
If there ever was a treasure, it's been lost for 600 years. Anyway, we're supposed to be investigating a serial killer, not a medieval treasure trove.
But maybe that's what the clown and his accomplices are after. Maybe this manuscript is the key.
You'd better leave it here for safekeeping.
I found this in the killer's room.
What is it, a credit card?
ID, Thomas Merlin, of the Gruber Electronics Corporation.
Never heard of him, or the company.
I found this matchbook in the killer's hotel room. It's from the Club Alamut.
Never heard of it. Is there anything written inside it?
No, what were you expecting?
If this was a movie, there'd be a clue, a name or an address. That's no use. There aren't even any matches in it.
Oh well, I'll keep it as a souvenir. Let's take another look at the manuscript. There's a guy with a sword and a bull.
The only mythological bull I know of is the Minotaur, but he was only half bull.
I don't think I'd like to be half a bull, even if it was the bottom half.
What's that object between them?
It looks like a gem on top of a tripod. There's a guy working on a loom. He's weaving a carpet or a tapestry.
Or a duvet cover. It's a clue to a place, I reckon. Somewhere famed for weaving and ships.
Where folk live in barrels?
It beats copper boxes.
There's a woman looking at her reflection in a mirror, but the reflection has 3 hideous faces.
She reminds me of the wicked queen in Snow White.
She was the one who said, "Mirror, mirror on the wall," wasn't she? She made me cry so much when I was a kid. Mom carried me out of the movie theater.
She didn't frighten me in the least.
Like I said, I was only a kid. I didn't like the crocodile in Peter Pan either. A knight with a crystal ball. Now, there's something written on the scroll beside the knight.
Yes, but it's written in Latin. Per disciplinam mea lux videbis.
By my teachings, you will see the light.
You speak Latin? Where did you learn a trick like that?
A trick? I studied law, okay? I can read Latin.
My, you're touchy. Tell me that again. Look there, 2 guys on the same horse. Let's face it, we need help, George. Someone who knows about these things.
Who do you suggest? Indiana Jones?
I know a guy who specializes in medieval studies. His name is Lobino.
Huh. Some stuffy old fossil who gets horny over ancient relics, I suppose.
Far from it. Andre isn't the stereotypical professor you have in mind.
Where can I find this Lobino guy?
At the Kroon Museum. I'll give you the address.
I have to go.
Okay. Don't forget to look for Lopinor at the Krun Museum.